The rain poured mercilessly as Penelope Winters clutched her designer handbag closer, cursing herself for dismissing her driver earlier that evening. Her stiletto heels clicked against the wet pavement, barely audible over the storm that had appeared out of nowhere, drenching her silk blouse and tailored pants within seconds. The charity gala had run later than expected, and now at nearly midnight, the streets of downtown were eerily empty except for a solitary figure huddled under the awning of the corner cafe. Isaac Armstrong shook the water from his worn jacket and checked his phone again. His night shift at the warehouse had been canceled last minute, leaving him without the overtime pay he'd been counting on to cover Lily's ballet lessons. His 7-year-old daughter had been begging for months, and he'd finally promised her she could start next week. Now, he'd have to figure out another way to make it happen. The thought of disappointing those big brown eyes made his chest ache as he prepared to brave the downpour for the 6-block walk home. Their paths crossed under the yellow glow of a streetlight. "Excuse me," Penelope called out, her voice barely carrying over the rainfall. "Do you know if there are any taxis around here this time of night?" Isaac turned, momentarily stunned by the elegant woman standing before him. Despite being soaked to the bone, she radiated a commanding presence. "Not in this part of town, especially not in this weather. The nearest taxi stand would be by the Grand Hotel, but that's nearly 15 blocks from here." Penelope sighed, her shoulders slumping slightly. "And of course my phone died right after I left the venue." She glanced up at him, vulnerability briefly replacing her usual confidence. "I don't suppose you'd be willing to walk with me? I live in the Pinnacle, just about 8 blocks from here." Isaac raised his eyebrows. The Pinnacle was the most exclusive residential building in the city, with units starting at several $1,000,000. This woman was clearly from another world entirely. "I can't leave you stranded in this weather," he said, after a moment's hesitation. "I'm headed that direction anyway." It wasn't entirely true his apartment was in the opposite direction, but something about the woman's situation tugged at his sense of decency. "Thank you. I'm Penelope," she said, extending a manicured hand. "Isaac," he replied, his calloused palm briefly meeting her soft one. "Let me at least offer you my jacket." "I couldn't possibly. You're already shivering," he pointed out. "I'm used to working outdoors. A little rain won't kill me." Reluctantly, Penelope accepted his weathered denim jacket, which engulfed her slender frame but provided immediate relief from the chill. As they began walking, she noticed how he positioned himself on the street side of the sidewalk, a small gesture of protection that wasn't lost on her. "So, what brought you out tonight?" Isaac asked, trying to fill the awkward silence between two strangers forced together by circumstance. "A charity gala for children's education," Penelope replied. "I serve on the board. We raised nearly $2 million tonight, which will fund scholarships for underprivileged kids throughout the state." "That's impressive," Isaac said sincerely. "Education changes everything." Something in his tone made Penelope glance at him more closely. "You speak from experience?" Isaac nodded. "I had to drop out of college when my mom got sick, 1 semester away from an engineering degree." "I'm sorry," Penelope said, and she meant it. "That must have been difficult." "Life happens," Isaac shrugged. "You adapt." They walked another block in silence, the rain beginning to ease slightly. "What about you?" he asked eventually. "What does Penelope from the Pinnacle do when she's not attending galas?" She laughed, the sound surprisingly warm and genuine. "I run Winters Industries. We develop sustainable energy solutions: solar, wind, geothermal. It was my father's company, but I've been CEO for the past 5 years. Winters Industries. You're Penelope Winters." Isaac stopped walking, recognition dawning. "Your company is revolutionizing affordable solar energy. I read about your work in Scientific American at the library." Penelope couldn't hide her surprise. "You read Scientific American?" "When I can. Old habits from my engineering days." There was no bitterness in his voice, just a matter-of-fact acknowledgement of a different path not taken, As they continued walking, their conversation flowed more easily. Isaac spoke of his daughter Lily, his pride evident in every word. Penelope found herself captivated by his obvious devotion to his child and his resilience in the face of challenges. When they finally reached the pinnacle, she felt an unexpected reluctance to end their conversation. "Would you like to come up for some coffee, to warm up before your walk home?" The invitation surprised them both. Isaac hesitated, acutely aware of his rain-soaked jeans and boots compared to the opulent lobby behind her. "I should really get home. My neighbor watches Lily when I work nights, and even though my shift was canceled, I don't want to impose on her any longer than necessary." Penelope nodded, understanding. "Of course." She slipped off his jacket and handed it back to him. "Thank you for escorting me home safely, Isaac." "It was my pleasure," he replied, meaning it more than he expected to. "Take care, Penelope." As she watched him walk away, Penelope made a split-second decision. "Isaac, wait!" She hurried after him, pulling a business card from her handbag. "If you ever want to continue our conversation about renewable energy or anything else, please call me. My direct line is on there." Isaac took the card, tucking it carefully into his wallet. "I just might do that." 2 days later, Isaac stood outside Lily's school, checking his watch nervously. He'd picked up an extra shift at his second job, stocking shelves at a local grocery store, but it had run later than expected. His daughter would be waiting, possibly worried. "Daddy." Lily's voice rang out as she spotted him, running full tilt with her backpack bouncing against her small shoulders. Her dark curls, so like her mother's, framed a face bright with relief. "Hey, Lilipad," he scooped her up, twirling her around as she giggled. "I'm sorry I'm late." "It's okay, miss." "Thompson let me help organize the bookshelf," Lily said, referring to her second-grade teacher. "I put them in alphabetical order by author's last name." "That's my girl," Isaac said proudly, always thinking like a librarian. As they walked home hand in hand, Lily chattering about her day, Isaac felt the familiar weight of responsibility on his shoulders. Since Claire's death 3 years ago from cancer, he'd been both mother and father to Lily, trying to fill the enormous void left by her mother while working multiple jobs to keep them afloat. "Daddy, remember you promised ballet lessons?" Lily asked suddenly, looking up at him with hopeful eyes. Isaac's heart clenched. "I remember, sweetheart. I'm still figuring out the timing with work, but I promise we'll make it happen." Later that night, after Lily was asleep, Isaac pulled out Penelope's business card. He'd thought about her several times since their chance encounter, though he knew their worlds were too different for anything to come of it. Still, the conversation had been the most stimulating he'd had in years, and he found himself wanting to hear her thoughts on topics they'd only brushed upon. Before he could talk himself out of it, he sent a text message. "This is Isaac from the rainstorm. Just wanted to thank you again for making a wet walk home more interesting. I hope you didn't catch cold." Across town, in her penthouse apartment with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city lights, Penelope's phone chimed. She'd been reviewing acquisition proposals, but the message brought a smile to her face. She'd almost given up hope of hearing from him. "No cold, thanks to your jacket. I've been thinking about our conversation on modular solar implementation in urban environments. Care to continue it over dinner sometime?" Isaac stared at her response, both flattered and wary. "Dinner sounds great, but I should warn you I come with a 7-year-old attachment who has ballet lessons on Tuesdays and Thursdays." Penelope's reply came quickly. "Perfect. I know a family-friendly Italian place with excellent tiramisu, Thursday at 6, and so began a most unexpected friendship. Each Thursday, Isaac would pick Lily up from her ballet lesson, which Penelope had anonymously arranged a scholarship for through the dance academy, and they would meet Penelope for dinner. Lily was initially shy around the elegant businesswoman, but Penelope quickly won her over by treating her with genuine respect and interest. "Did you know that butterflies taste with their feet?" Penelope asked Lily one evening as they waited for their meals. Lily's eyes widened. "Really?" That would be like tasting spaghetti by stepping in it. Exactly, Penelope laughed. And that's why they land on flowers before drinking the nectar. They're checking if it's good first. Isaac watched their interaction, something warm unfurling in his chest. Penelope never talked down to Lily or treated her conversations as less important than adult ones. Instead, she engaged with his daughter's curiosity in a way that made Lily feel valued. Over the following weeks, their Thursday dinners became a highlight for all three of them. Isaac found himself sharing more about his life, his struggles since Claire's death, his dreams for Lily's future, and even his own deferred ambitions. Penelope, in turn, revealed the loneliness behind her success, the pressure of carrying her family's legacy, and the superficiality of many of her social connections. People see the billionaire, not the person, she confessed one evening after Lily had gone to the restaurant's small play area. Every relationship comes with an agenda. It's exhausting to constantly wonder what someone wants from you. That sounds isolating, Isaac said, understanding in his eyes. For what it's worth, I had no idea who you were that night in the rain. I just saw a woman who needed help getting home safely. Penelope's hand found his across the table. I know, that's what makes this so refreshing. As autumn turned to winter, their relationship deepened. Isaac began consulting on some of Winter's Industries' community projects, his practical experience and engineering background proving invaluable. Penelope found herself spending weekends at the public park, watching Lily's soccer games, or helping with science fair projects at Isaac's modest apartment. One snowy December evening, after Lily had fallen asleep on Penelope's luxurious couch during a movie night, Isaac helped carry her to the guest bedroom that had gradually accumulated a collection of her toys and books over the past months. She's completely out, Isaac whispered, tucking the blanket around his daughter. I should probably wake her and get her home. You could stay, Penelope suggested softly. The guest room has 2 beds. It's getting late and the roads are icy. Their eyes met in the dim light, and Isaac felt something shift between them. The careful boundaries they'd maintained were beginning to blur. Penny, he said, using the nickname only he called her. I need to be careful here, not just for me, but for Lily. She's already getting attached to you, and if this whatever this is between us doesn't work out. I understand, Penelope replied, moving closer to him. I've never been in a relationship with someone who has a child before. It changes everything, doesn't it? It has to, Isaac nodded. She'll always be my priority. I wouldn't want it any other way, Penelope said. But Isaac, I've never felt this way about anyone before. When I'm with you and Lily, I feel like I'm part of something real, something that matters beyond boardrooms and balance sheets. Isaac reached up to brush a strand of hair from her face, his touch gentle. I'm falling in love with you, Penny, and it terrifies me. Instead of responding with words, Penelope leaned forward and kissed him. It was tender at first, then deepened with months of unspoken feelings. When they finally broke apart, both slightly breathless, Isaac rested his forehead against hers. We'll take it slow, Penelope promised. For Lily's sake, but I'm not going anywhere, Isaac. I love you both. Taking it slow proved easier said than done. By spring, Penelope was a fixture in their lives, and Lily had begun asking innocent but pointed questions. Does Penny love you like Mommy did? She asked Isaac one morning as he prepared her breakfast. Isaac nearly dropped the bowl of cereal. What makes you ask that, Lillipad? Because she looks at you the same way Mommy does in the pictures, Lily said matter-of-factly. And you smile more now. I like when you smile, Daddy. I like it too, he admitted, sitting down across from her. And yes, Penny and I care about each other very much. How would you feel about that? Lily considered the question with the serious deliberation of a child. Would she live with us? Because our apartment is too small for her big books. She has more books than the library. Isaac laughed, relief washing through him. We haven't talked about living arrangements yet, sweetheart. But if things keep going well, we might need to figure that out someday. I think you should marry her, Lily declared, returning to her cereal. Then she could be my other mom, not instead of my real mom, she added quickly, but like an extra one. An extra mom, huh? Isaac smiled, though his eyes grew misty. Let's not get ahead of ourselves, okay? But Lily's words stayed with him. That evening, after she was asleep, he called Penelope. Can I see you tomorrow? He asked. Just us. There's something I want to talk to you about. Is everything okay? Penelope's concern was immediate. Everything's fine, he assured her. Better than fine, actually. I just need to talk to you about our future. They met for lunch at a quiet cafe halfway between Isaac's workplace and Penelope's office tower. Despite the casual setting, there was a nervous energy between them. Lily asked me this morning if you love me like her mother did, Isaac said after they'd ordered. Penelope's eyes widened. What did you tell her? I said we care about each other very much, Isaac replied. But it made me realize that kids see everything, and it made me think about what I want, what I hope for. He reached across the table, taking her hands in his. Penny, I never expected to find love again after Claire died. I was just trying to survive, to be there for Lily. But then you appeared in the rain that night, and somehow you've become essential to both of us. Isaac, let me finish, he said gently. I know our worlds are different. You're literally a billionaire and I work 2 jobs to make rent. But when we're together, none of that seems to matter. You never make me feel less than. You respect my pride but support us in ways that feel like partnership, not charity. And the way you love Lily, seeing that has been the greatest gift. Penelope's eyes filled with tears. I never thought I'd want a family, she admitted. My parents' marriage was a business arrangement, cold and transactional. I saw what money did to relationships, how it corrupted them. I built walls to protect myself, but you and Lily knocked them down without even trying. So where does that leave us? Isaac asked softly. Hoping for a future together, Penelope answered, squeezing his hands. I want to be part of your lives, Isaac, not just on Thursdays or weekends, but every day, even with all the complications. My irregular work hours, Lily's school schedules, the fact that I can't contribute financially the way you can. Those aren't complications, Penelope said firmly. That's life. Real life, something I didn't have much of until I met you. You contribute in ways that matter far more than money, Isaac. You've shown me what it means to live with purpose, with heart. They began making plans. Penelope suggested they take their time, allowing Lily to adjust gradually to any changes. Isaac agreed, though privately he knew his daughter was already more ready for this step than either of the adults. Summer arrived, bringing with it Lily's 8th birthday. She requested a small celebration at the city park, with just the 3 of them plus her 2 best friends from school. Isaac prepared a picnic while Penelope decorated a section of the park with balloons and streamers. After cake and presents, while Lily and her friends played on the nearby playground equipment, Isaac pulled Penelope aside. I have something for you, he said, suddenly nervous. I've been saving for months. From his pocket, he withdrew a small velvet box. Penelope's breath caught as he opened it to reveal a modest but beautiful ring with a single diamond flanked by 2 smaller sapphires. It's not what you're probably used to, Isaac said apologetically. But it's perfect, Penelope interrupted, tears streaming down her face. It's absolutely perfect. Isaac knelt on one knee, oblivious to the curious onlookers in the park. Penelope Winters, you walked into my life on a rainy night and changed everything. Will you marry me? Will you be a family with Lily and me? Yes, she whispered, then louder. Yes, yes, 1,000 times yes. As he slipped the ring onto her finger, they heard a squeal of delight. Turning, they saw Lily racing toward them, having spotted the proposal from the playground. Did you ask her? Is she going to be my other mom now? Lily demanded, practically bouncing with excitement. Isaac laughed, lifting his daughter into his arms. Yes, Lillipad. If it's okay with you, Penny is going to be part of our family now. I told you you should marry her. Lily exclaimed triumphantly, throwing her arms around both of them. This is the best birthday ever. The engagement made headlines in the business world. Billionaire CEO Penelope Winters to wed single father. There were predictable speculations about Isaac's motivations, snide comments about him marrying for money, and concerns from Winters Industries board about the impact on the company's image. Penelope confronted the board directly. "My personal life is not up for discussion," she stated firmly. "But let me be clear. Isaac Armstrong is the most honorable man I've ever known. He works harder than anyone in this room, raising a child on his own while holding down multiple jobs. He has more integrity in his little finger than most people acquire in a lifetime. If anyone suggests otherwise, they'll answer to me." No one dared question her choice again, at least not publicly. They decided to have a small, intimate wedding rather than the society event everyone expected. The ceremony would be held in the botanical gardens where Isaac and Lily often spent Saturday mornings when Penelope had early meetings. The night before the wedding, Isaac tucked Lily into bed, sitting beside her longer than usual. "Are you excited about tomorrow, Lillipad?" he asked, smoothing her curls away from her forehead. Lily nodded sleepily. "I can't wait to wear my flower girl dress. Penny says I look like a princess in it." "You absolutely do," Isaac agreed. "But you know, even though things are changing, some things will always stay the same. Like how much I love you. That will never, ever change." "I know, Daddy," Lily said, her eyes serious. "And Mommy still loves us from heaven. Penny told me it's okay to keep Mommy's picture by my bed even after she moves in with us." Isaac felt his throat tighten with emotion. "Penny's right. Your mom will always be your mom." "Daddy," Lily asked, her voice growing drowsy, "do you think Mommy would like Penny?" Isaac considered the question carefully. "I think she would love Penny," he said finally, "because Penny loves you so much, and that's what your mom would care about most." Satisfied, Lily drifted off to sleep. Isaac sat watching her for a while longer, marveling at how resilient children could be, how open to love in all its forms. The wedding day dawned clear and bright. Isaac stood under an arch of flowers, his best friend from the warehouse beside him as best man. When the music began and Lily appeared, scattering rose petals along the path, his heart swelled with pride. And then Penelope appeared, and everything else faded away. She had chosen a simple ivory gown rather than an extravagant designer creation. Her hair was swept up with a few tendrils framing her face, and she carried a bouquet of wildflowers that Lily had helped select. She looked radiant, but it was the joy in her eyes that took Isaac's breath away. As she reached him, Penelope handed her bouquet to her maid of honor and took both of Isaac's hands in hers. "You look beautiful," he whispered. "So do you," she replied, smiling at his unaccustomed suit and tie. The officiant began the ceremony, but when it came time for the vows, Penelope had a surprise. "Isaac, before I say my vows to you, I have something for Lily," she said, turning to the little girl who stood nearby. From a pocket hidden in the folds of her dress, Penelope withdrew a small velvet box, similar to the one Isaac had given her months before. Kneeling down to Lily's level, she opened the box to reveal a delicate silver bracelet with a single charm, a lily flower. "Lily Armstrong, I'm not just marrying your dad today. I'm promising to love you too, to be there for you always, to listen to your stories and help with your homework and cheer at your ballet recitals. Will you let me be part of your family?" Lily's eyes widened, then filled with tears as she nodded, too overwhelmed to speak. Penelope fastened the bracelet around her small wrist, then hugged her tightly before rising to face Isaac again. There wasn't a dry eye among the guests as they exchanged their vows. When the officiant pronounced them husband and wife, Isaac pulled both Penelope and Lily into an embrace before kissing his new wife to the applause of their friends and family. The reception was held in the garden's glass house, decorated with twinkling lights and flowers. As they shared their first dance, Penelope rested her head against Isaac's shoulder. "Happy?" he asked softly. "Happier than I ever thought possible," she replied. "Who would have thought that asking a stranger to walk me home would lead to this?" "I'm glad you asked," Isaac said, pulling her closer. Though I should warn you now, I'll be walking you home for the rest of our lives." "I'm counting on it," Penelope said, rising on tiptoe to kiss him again. Later, as the evening wound down, they found Lily asleep on a chair, exhausted from the excitement. Isaac lifted her carefully, cradling her against his chest. "Ready to go home?" he asked Penelope. "Home," she repeated, the word filled with meaning. "Yes, let's go home." As they walked out together, Lily stirred slightly but didn't wake, secure in her father's arms. Penelope slipped her hand into Isaac's free one, and the three of them made their way to the waiting car, a family forged not from obligation or circumstance, but from a love that had appeared unexpectedly on a rainy night when a billionaire woman asked a poor dad to walk her home, not knowing she'd walk down the aisle with him instead. That night, as Isaac tucked Lily into bed in their new home, a comfortable house they had chosen together, neither as grand as Penelope's penthouse, nor as cramped as Isaac's apartment, Penelope stood in the doorway, watching. "Good night, my darling girl," she whispered, coming forward to kiss Lily's forehead. "Good night, Mama Penny," Lily murmured sleepily, using the name she had chosen herself. As they closed the door halfway, leaving the nightlight glowing softly, Isaac pulled Penelope into his arms. "Welcome home, Mrs. Armstrong," Penelope smiled, leaning into his embrace. "I never thought I'd prefer that name to CEO or billionaire, but I do. I absolutely do." "Good," Isaac said, leading her down the hallway to their bedroom, "because it's yours forever now." "Forever," Penelope echoed, thinking of all the paths that had led to this moment, all the choices and chances, the rainstorm and that simple request for help. She had asked Isaac to walk her home, not knowing he would become her home instead, and she wouldn't have it any other way.